am Lolo Choux from Tatin. I'm here today to show you how to bake the Tarte Tatin, the famous Tarte Tatin. This is a special recipe. This is the Philippe Conticini recipe. So it is a little bit technique, but not too much to have a very good result at the end. Okay, so now I'll show you the different ingredients. I'll have 250 grams of flour, 150 grams of butter, cutted butter. I have a tablespoon of sugar using before cooking, 4 grams of salt, 100 grams of water. I think this is very important to measure your ingredients with a metric measurement, especially to have a good recipe at the end. Okay, so now we take the flour in the mixing bowl, the salt, we mix a little bit. Okay, now we're going to put the butter in the flour, mixing a little bit, but not too much, not overmixed. Try to not overmix the butter in the flour because this is a pastry puff dough. This is a special recipe. This is not the real technique. Actually, this is a good technique, but an easy one. Okay, so now it's time to put this dough in the refrigerator for 20 minutes or about 30 minutes, and then we can going on with the dough and make the real pastry puff. Okay, now we're going to bake the streusel. This is a crumb, a French crumb. We need it for the decoration of our Tarte Tatin. So here are the ingredients. We need 50 grams of flour. We need 50 grams of nuts powder. We need 65 grams of nuts powder. We need 50 grams of brown sugar. We need 50 grams of butter cut it in small pieces, and we need a pinch of salt. For the cooking, we need baking sheets and a silicone baking mat. This is very interesting for the cooking. So now, here the baking. So we're going to take all the dry ingredients and then mix the butter before cooking the crumbs. I need to tell you to preheat your oven at 350 degree Fahrenheit. It's about 180 degree Celsius. So now here so you put the flour in the mixing bowl, the nuts powder, the brown sugar, a pinch of salt. Okay, you mix the dry ingredients. Okay, when it's well mixed, you can add the small pieces of butter and form like a dough. Okay, a crumb. It's a big piece of crumb. You can smell the nuts, it's so good. Okay, I told you this is a very special recipe made by Philippe Conticini. Philippe Conticini is a very famous pastry chef in France, and you can find him in his pastry shop in Paris. The name of his pastry is La Pâtisserie des Rêves. You have to go there to taste his pastry. This is so delicious. Okay, so now I have the dough, the crème dough. This is called streusel. You take some small pieces of streusel and form like a small rock, you know. You need that for the decoration of the tarte tatin, but this is not only the decoration, but also for the taste, because this is so good. I can tell you this is good. Especially with the nuts and the apple, the mixing, these two flavors are very well combined. Okay, like this. Okay, nice. My oven is preheated. So I'm going to put this in my oven. Okay. You have to cook this for about 10 to 12 minutes. So keep an eye on it. If not, you're going to burn your small pieces and you have to bake all over. So 12 minutes will be good, but I'm going to keep an eye on it. Okay, here. A small piece of streusel, the French crème. Ah, this is hot. I'm going to keep that here. So let it cool for about 10 or 15 minutes, and we're gonna keep this cool, and then we can use this small piece of crumble streusel for the decoration. But this is very good to eat like a small cookie. Okay, now it's time to make the caramel for the tarte tatin. This is the good part, very sweet and very good. You can't have a tarte tatin without a caramel, a very good caramel. So this is a little bit tricky, but not so much. You just have to watch and follow the instruction. Okay, so we need 60 grams of water. We need 250 grams of grated sugar, white sugar. You need 70 grams of glucose. Actually, I don't have any glucose here, so I choose to use pineapple syrup. I made it last week with pineapple, Tahitian pineapple. So this is very good to put in the caramel. So now I put the water. First, you have to put the water. This is very important to keep the good instruction. Then the grated sugar. Very careful not to put the sugar in the side of the saucepan, okay? And then I put the pineapple syrup or glucose. I think this is better to use a glucose, but I don't have any glucose here, so it would be good. So now I try to mix a little bit the sugar, not too much. I have to be very careful not to put the sugar in the side of the saucepan. Mixed it very well, very gently. Okay, this is good. Okay. Up. So now I put this on the heat. Okay, it's going to cook for about 10 minutes. You have to keep an eye on it. The caramel has to be blonde but not too brown, because we're going to bake it in the cake pan for about 1 hour with the apple. So it's better to have a brown caramel and not too brown, because the taste is not so good. So I'll show you when. Okay, you can see the caramel. It's almost well. It's a brown. Come over here and look in the saucepan. You can see this is brown. I think this is the good color. Okay, I'm not gonna go too far. Where's the caramel? it's cooking. It has been cooked for about 5 minutes. Okay, this is the good color. Okay, so I stop. I have here my cake pan. So now what I'm gonna do is pour the caramel in the saucepan. Okay, now we have the pastry puff dough. It has been cooled in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes, and it's time to roll the pastry dough to make the turn. So I put some flour on my table, a little bit of flour in the dough. Okay. So the butter is in the dough. So this is the easy technique to make a puff pastry. Don't move your dough. Sometimes be careful the dough is not stuck on the table. Okay, so I roll. You can see the butter inside the dough. Okay, so now up, I turn, I fold the dough like this as a wallet. We say that in French, portefeuille. I'm going to try to roll another time, but I'm not sure it's good. It's good. Okay, try another time. We have to roll the dough 4 times like this. Okay, a little bit of flour under the dough. Okay, the consistency of the dough is not too bad. Okay. Up. Okay. Okay, so now I'll show that I have 3 turns. You have to have 6 turns to have a good pastry puff. But it's time to put the dough in the refrigerator for now about 30 minutes to let it cool, to let the butter be very hard, becoming hard in the dough. And then we can finish the 3 times turn and it's over. The dough is done. Okay? Okay, now it's time to make the sauce, the tartin, the tarte tatin sauce. So what we need is 20 grams of water, 30 grams of granted sugar, okay, 30 grams of butter, a pinch of salt, a teaspoon of extract vanilla, natural extract vanilla, and a teaspoon of lemon. So now we're gonna bake the sauce. So we put the water in the saucepan and the sugar. Okay, the thing is that you have to boil the sugar in the water for a couple of minutes before I added the other ingredients. Okay, now it's good. Okay, okay, now it's good. So you have the water and the sugar in the saucepan. You put a pinch of salt, then a tablespoon of vanilla, extract vanilla. Whoop, that's okay. A teaspoon of lemon. Okay, that's good. And then the butter. So what we have to do now is mix this sauce with a stand mixer to have a good emulsion. Okay? Okay. The sauce for the tarte tatin is done. I'm going to put this away and use when my apple are sliced. Okay, so I'm peeling the apples. Keep your apple in one piece. It's easier to slice the apple. Okay, I'm not a quick peeler. I do my best. So what we have to do is to slice the apple very thin. It's about 2 millimeters, and I show you the result. So this is the slice of apple that we need. This is very, very thin. This is a very good trick for the recipe, to have thin sliced apple. Okay, now this is the time to arrange our sliced apple slice in our cake pan. You have the hard caramel, you have the sliced apple, and you have the Tarte Tatin sauce. Okay? So what we have to do is put the apple slice over the caramel. So very, very it's pretty long to do that, but the result is very good. So okay, here the result of the sliced apple in the cake pan. So this is very well arranged. You have to push a little bit on it to be sure there is no air in the apple. Okay, now I take the apple sauce and I pour the apple sauce on the sliced apple. Okay, I use a spatula. Okay. So I'm going to put this in the oven for about 50 minutes. Okay, this is our puff pastry. We're going to make the last fold. We have already three folds, and we need 3 more folds. Okay. The puff pastry is done. I'm going to keep that 10 minutes in the fridge, and then we can cut the dough to have the good form and bake. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay, this is the last step for our puff pastry. So what we need is some water. You put some water in your baking sheet. Not too much. Okay. So we can then put the puff pastry in the baking sheet for cooking. Okay, then a little bit of flour on the pastry dough, and then we can roll. Okay. We can roll to have a puff pastry sheet, and then after cooking we're going to cut at the good form to have the support for the tarte tatin. Okay, so a little bit of sugar, excuse me, on the dough, on the puff pastry, so the puff pastry will be very crispy. Not too much, not necessary, it will be burned, but just enough. Okay, so now I take a fork and make some little hole everywhere, so the dough will stay flat. Okay, now you see the cake pan. Come over here and see the result. It's all cooked, all caramelized. It's very hot actually. For the dough, you have here the dough. It's all cooked. It's flat. So now we're going to cut it with a big knife to be just the size of the cake pan, a little bit bigger. You see that when we're going to assemble all the things together. Okay, so to cut, it's very easy actually. You do a line with your knife, like this. You turn the baking sheet, it's better. Okay, same operation. You cut straight from a line. Okay, very be careful not to break the puff pastry. Be gentle, take your time. Okay. Okay, so you have now your puff pastry support for the tarte tatin, and you have your apple. We're gonna proceed to the assembly. It's it's the tricky things of the recipe, but we're gonna manage to do this. And okay, so one on the end, on the other end, and we're gonna manage to do some things interesting, I hope. So okay, you ready? Ready, baby? Okay, let's go. So now the cake pan is on the puff pastry, and this is the result. Is it gonna work or not? I don't know. Okay, let's go. Okay, it's in the middle. Yes, 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 it works. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to finish our tarte tatin. Here are the streusel. So I take some sugar powder, and I'm going to spread the sugar powder on the streusel. Okay, so now we can take the little streusel, the crumble, as we say in English. And you put on the side of the tarte tatin. Okay, after that we have to clean the paper support. Okay. 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 I hope you liked it. It was not too easy to make it. This is my first video, especially in English, so excuse me of my English. I know this is not too, I'm not so fluent as I would like to be, but I hope you liked it. Thank you. See you very soon on my future video.